I am excited to say that I have passed the new Business Practitioner ADO 708. This is the first test that Adobe has rebuilt in the Adobe Commerce lineup or portfolio of tests. They are in the process of redoing all of them. It just is going to take probably close to a year to get everything out and set. And it's going to be my goal to get all of those taken. Whether or not I get that done, we will see. So the funny thing is this ended up being A to B comparison. You see, I made a stupid mistake and I ended up taking ADO 700, which is the old Business Practitioner test, which means that I accidentally got about as good of A to B comparison as you could possibly imagine. So I'm gonna quickly run through what I see as a few of the differences, and then we'll talk a little bit more about some of the new stuff that I saw on this new test, ADO 708. So let's run through a few of the differences. Old test has 60 questions, new test has 48 questions. Old test has approximately 4 answers per question. New test has approximately 3 answers per question. Old test has more sentences in the answer. New test has more just features or words for the answers. Old test has a lot more of scoping questions. Stores, how many website stores and store views should you create? New test has very few of those, which is ultimately really good news for many people, as those were the very dreaded questions that on a test. When I took the old test today, I got an 83%. When I took the new test today, I got a 79%. You could say that the old test, my score on that is a little bit inflated because I wrote some of the questions on there. In fact, I think I wrote closer to 20 of the questions on that test between the 2 test forms that are in circulation today. And of course, I've helped a lot of people, and I do my level best to never hear any of the questions that people share to me, and that are I believe some of them have been found on the test, but it's inevitable sometimes. I have still seen some of those questions, so I feel like I'm fairly familiar with the old test form as far as the questions and everything on there. The new test, I'm not quite so familiar with, of course, because I didn't help write any of this test. I helped with building out the objectives, but not actually writing the test itself. So I would give myself, if I took away some of my familiarity, it's probably the old test would have been in the lower 70s as opposed to a 79%. So that said, I believe the new test is definitely a little easier to pass. So there's the comparison of old versus new. Let's talk about some of the things that I saw on the new test. Now, of course, I am not going to give you the questions or the answers that I saw in the new test. To be frank, that would be really difficult to give to you because I've already forgotten them. My mind has such a short memory, it just is what it is. So the new test, what I saw, covers much more of Magento Commerce. There are quite a few additional questions about GIFs. There's less questions about scoping. There are less questions about, honestly, B2B. It seems like it wasn't covered quite as much. And so was scratching my head, thinking like, so what else was actually covered on the test? And I think the 48 questions has made a big difference on this. There's just a lot less questions to ask on the test. And to be frank, every question takes a long time to write. So now that they're also writing a practice test too, it would be tough to get, I don't know, 100, or at least probably 150, maybe 200 questions, I'm guessing, written for an exam like this in a week, with, I don't know if they're spending even 2 hours a day with everybody working on it. It takes a lot of time. And so I can understand why there'd be 48 questions as a result. There's definitely some questions about Commerce Cloud on there. I saw even a pricing question. So that would be, I think that was on the first version of the test, because we're now at version 3 of Business Practitioner. I think there were some pricing questions onto that first version as well. But pretty much all the new Adobe features are covered. There's live search on there. There's product recommendations. Certainly all the Magento Commerce features, or a lot of them, I think I saw on there. B2B. Overall, it's a pretty comprehensive test and covers everything pretty well. So if you haven't already, be prepared to take Business Practitioner, the ADO 708, and you won't be disappointed. It's a good test. I will say, just to mention here, I put a couple comments on some questions that a couple of them were just difficult to figure out. And I didn't see any questions on there that looked like they were incorrect. Of course, I would not know if they are incorrect or not, but just based off of the options that are there, there was a couple that were very difficult to decide what was right, and I felt like the question could have been worded a little bit clearer. So as you're taking this test, if you come across questions like that, as always, no matter what test form it is, there's a very handy comment button that's available for you. Just click that and fill in your thoughts. Of course, be nice. But hopefully Adobe is watching these, and I'm confident they're going to update this as time goes on, and they're going to see these questions as feedback, and hopefully they are going to adjust the test form as a result. So that's my thoughts on taking the new Business Practitioner ADO 708. Look forward to hearing from you. What are your thoughts as far as this new test? How has it gone for you? I'm looking forward to hearing it.